Good morning, everyone. This is Kathy Schick with NC3T. I hope you're all having a beautiful morning in Pennsylvania as I am. I have my windows open and air conditioning off. Welcome and thank you for joining us today. We are going to move through this presentation hopefully in about 15 to 20 minutes, and then we will open the floor for some questions. So let me just quickly tell you how we will field your questions. There's a couple of ways. If you're familiar with our platform, GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar, there is a box where you can type your questions in as we move along, and I'll try to monitor those. However, we'll be holding all questions until the end. So at the end, you're on mute right now. That's a way to minimize noise. So at the end, you can either raise your hand, which is another icon, and we will unmute you. You can type in your question, or maybe at the end we'll unmute everyone. Let's see how it goes. All right, so as I said, good morning, welcome, and I'm going to pass our conversation over to Hans Meter.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Today we'll be talking about a project called the Pathway System Academy, and that project is part of Pennsylvania Pathways Innovation Network, which is a statewide network of school districts, career technology centers, community colleges, employer organizations, workforce development organizations that are all working on the development and implementation of pathway programs as well as pathway systems. And we'll be talking briefly about what that model looks like. The network is free to anyone who wants to join, so if you would like to join, we'd welcome your membership. And it provides networking opportunities, resources, as well as technical assistance. And this particular project falls under that technical assistance piece of the Pathways Innovation Network. Pathways Innovation Network, here's a couple of the organizations that are involved. Funding and support comes through Pennsylvania Department of Education, the Bureau of Career and Technical Education. And that funding comes through our organization, the National Center for College and Career Transitions, NC3T. And then NC3T is the organization that manages and organizes, supports the PA PIN on a day-to-day basis. Here are some of the faces to go with the names on today's webinar. You have myself, Hans Meter, President of NC3T. Have worked in about 20 different states supporting state education agencies, workforce systems, community college systems, and local school districts and other partners around career technical education, around pathway systems development, STEM education. I'm the author of 2 books, one called The STEM Leaders Guide, and then a forthcoming book that'll be out next month, and actually the members of the Pathway System Academy will receive, called The Power and Promise of Pathways. Jane Heipel is our project coach on this effort. She has a very multifaceted career, research and evaluation, data management, education improvement practices, and that would include being Vice President of Workforce Education and Development for the Pittsburgh Technology Council, directing a project with the Westmoreland County Community College around their U.S. Department of Labor ShaleNet worker training program, working with the Pennsylvania Department of Education application for a new community college in Northwest PA, as well as teaching in Penn State University in their CTE Director Certification and Teacher Certification programs. Prior to that, she had 11 years of experience in public education, serving in administrative positions at 3 career technical education schools in Pennsylvania. So we're really excited to have Dr. with us on this project. And Kathy Schick is our project coordinator. She has a wide range of experience in both elementary, high school, being a classroom teacher, an English as a second language teacher, a reading specialist, and instructional coach. And she most recently worked at a large career technical high school in the Allentown, in the Lehigh Valley region, and has developed a strong expertise in work-based learning, articulation, agreements, business engagement, and professional development. So we have a really strong team working on this project. The Pathway System Academy is specifically built around uh, helping career technical centers and participating school districts develop pathway systems working together rather than just working individually. So the academy teams will be bringing them together. We'll talk about the makeup of the teams in just a moment. But the purpose of the academy teams will be to develop individual and I'm having a problem seeing this entire slide here, but developing individual school district and career technology center approaches to pathway systems and pathway programs, but then also working collaboratively to identify ways that you can share resources, share expertise across your system. So we're looking for career technical centers and school districts to really break new ground in the types of collaboration. And some of the things that you might consider as you're going through that project is thinking about how to build upon your existing initiatives, such as your guidance plans that you're doing in compliance with Chapter 339, Career Education and Work Standards. Thinking about how to do regional workforce analysis and program planning, coordinating outreach perhaps to your employer community, to systematize that, to streamline that, looking for opportunities to seek pathway program startup funding within your collaborative, working with your post-secondary education partners around dual enrollment strategies, working to do regional events such as career showcases and industry sector events. So those are some of the kind of things that you're not required to do, but you will have the opportunity to explore how you could work collaboratively as well as individually. And then our role will be to provide expertise and technical assistance during 3 focused workshops and then also interim planning calls. So that really is the extent of your specific time commitment, is participating in these 3 one-day workshops and then also participating in the monthly interim coaching calls. We certainly will encourage you to do more local planning and coordination, but that will be certainly at your discretion. But to participate in this, you will need to at least at a minimum participate in the workshops and the coaching calls. The pathway system framework is what will be helping you work through and think through what a version of this looks like in your region. And it has 6 components: defining career and life readiness for successful graduates of your schools and your school districts. What does your career education exploration and planning system look like? And that would certainly relate to your career education work standards plan that you've already been developing. What kind of pathway programs do you offer, both collaboratively between individual schools and your career tech centers, as well as programs that sit inside of a school? Dynamic teaching and learning. How do you bring the work that you've been doing around improving the quality of instruction, making that more engaging for students, bringing that into a pathway system rather than having that stand alone as a separate entity? The pathway system framework is really meant to bring all these activities and connect them, give them more synergy, more effectiveness by having them connect together rather than be kind of individual spheres of operations. So the 4th piece would be employer and community engagement, doing that systematically, thoughtfully, both kind of to inform the quality of your programs, but then also to get employer and community volunteers directly involved in programs and getting your students also into work-based learning experiences. And then the final piece of the framework is how to build sustainable cross-sector partnerships between your K-12, your career technology centers, other resources such as post-secondary education, workforce systems, and employer or industry sector groups. So that's really what the pathway system framework looks like. Those are the things that we will be helping you develop plans around. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Jane Heipel, and she'll talk about the makeup of the academy teams and what you'll be doing at the workshops. Jane?
Thank you, Hans. Good morning, everyone. I see a number of names on there that I already know, and I'm looking forward to meeting everyone else on the call. But as Hans talked about, one of the initial charges for you is to form an academy team. And this is really, really important, especially when you look at the core team. What we're looking at is those individuals to work with the CTC director and the sending schools. So the makeup of that team needs to be key decision makers at the leadership level. So along with the CTC director, we're looking at up to 3 of your sending schools to work with you on this academy team. As far as who works with the core team, that's something that you're going to have to assess and look at based on your individual culture, your area, and who you feel can be the most benefit and be the most engaged in working with the core team and the core leaders at the CTC and the sending schools. So you can see on here there's a number of individuals that we have looked at as potential for you, but again, you will need to make those decisions on who will best work with you as you go through the pathway and the academy model. Again, the critical component is the core team with the CTC director and up to 3 of your sending schools. If you do have more sending schools that are interested in working with you, we can certainly accommodate that. And if it's only 1 or 2, we can also accommodate that. We're leaving that up to your knowledge of your superintendents to work with you on this initiative. As far as the workshop goes, as Hans said, one of the requirements as far as time are the 3 workshops where we will meet face-to-face, and you can see the dates on there. 10 to 2:30. The good thing is lunch is provided. That's always a plus for this. But during that time, we will work specifically with you on developing some of your action plans, talking and discussing what's happening, and also giving you the opportunity to share across the different academy sites on what's working and what is not working, what your issues and challenges are, and also your successes based on what's happening with your academy team. So what's going to happen next? First thing we need you to do is form your core team. So I'll be reaching out to you in the next week or so to talk to you about that, to see where you are on that. But that's your initial first step, is to get the core team together. Also within the next 2 weeks, you can expect to see what we call a self-assessment survey. And this will be trying to hold it to about a 15-minute survey. I'm going to ask you to assess where you are on each of the 5 components of the system framework. We want to get a baseline of which areas you feel you're strong in, some other areas, and then use those results at the workshop in October for our discussion and action plans. But it will be important for the CTC director and also the sending districts to fill out this assessment. It will be delivered online via SurveyMonkey, and we'll also use that same assessment as a midpoint and an endpoint to see the progress that you've made across the course of the next 9 to 10 months with the Pathway project. Also at the first workshop, you can expect to leave there with an action plan detailing some of the items that you want to work on as a team, and also whose roles and responsibilities are within the Pathway system to move into some of the areas that you designate as important for your team. And each one, again, we want to make sure that you understand that each academy team may take on a different component of the system framework. There's not a one-size model fits all for everybody. This is going to be very localized and individualized, but yet following a process that NC3T has been successfully utilizing over the course of the last years.
Thanks, Jane. Well, this is Kathy again, everyone. And as Jane said, your next steps would be, for some of you, you're on this call to gather more information. Others of you have already signed up through TAP, and we welcome you. We've had a good amount of interest in this project. We're very excited about that. But we do have a capacity at which we need to cap our workload as well. So we will be taking teams by the order in which they signed up. If you haven't yet signed up, there is room, so please do so. And that you would do through Jackie Cullen and PACTA as a TAP activity, or you can email directly, as you'll see on your screen, papin@nc3t.com, and I will communicate with Jackie. And Jackie, I know you're on the call, so jump in if that's incorrect. So your very next step is to make sure that you're on registered for the Academy, and then in the next week or so, Jane will be contacting you to touch base and discuss with you how you're moving forward with your core team, and confirming your participation and that you were able to pull together the core team of key decision makers. And then as Jane said, once you are confirmed in the Academy, we will ask you to complete the self-assessment by October 15th. And then, of course, let us know who will be attending the October 25th meeting so that we can take a head count and do our planning. As you can imagine, there's a lot of moving parts to a meeting like this and to an activity like this that brings people together from all across the state. We're very excited about it. I don't have any questions. I don't know if you want to move this slide, Hans, but I don't see any questions typed into the question box, but let's give a minute or so and allow you to type questions in, and I'll also try to take a look to see if any hands are raised.
Kathy, while you're doing that, Kathy, while you're doing that, let me just address a question that people might have typically. Is there any specific grant funding associated with this project? The project is supported through the Bureau of Career Technical Education as part of the TAP project. So you'll be receiving a good kind of in-kind value of technical assistance and coaching. The workshops are at no cost to you. There will also be some funding, $1,000 to $2,000 per overall team, not individual school, but for overall team as reimbursable travel expenses up to a certain amount. The exact amount that we'll be able to offer each team will depend on the overall number of teams that sign up for the project, as well as the individuals. Some teams might have more districts than other teams. So once we know the final mix, then we'll tell you what your allocation will be for reimbursable travel expenses.
And Hans, speaking of travel, and I do have a couple other questions then. Speaking of travel, everyone, all three workshops, we tried to make them as centrally located as possible, or at least in the Harrisburg area, and all three workshops will be held at the School Board Association, and I'm blanking on their acronym, but I know, Jackie, I've unmuted you so you can let us know. But also, Jody has asked if there'll be a copy of the PowerPoint, and Jody, you are in luck, because not only will there be a PowerPoint copy, we are recording this session, and we'll ask Lee to send it out to all directors, the link to this. So I hope that helps. Okay, Jackie, I know you had your hand up. I'm back to my teaching days. I call on you, Jackie.
Okay, two things. The acronym is PSBA, Pennsylvania School Boards Association. Secondly, people can let you know if they're interested. They do not need to contact me about that, but they do need to designate it on their MOU that they're sending to Lee. So if they have already submitted their MOU and are now going to sign up, they need to send in a revised MOU or send an email to Lee letting her know that they are going to be participating. Thank you.
Great. And when you send that email to Lee, if you just say, let PA Pin know or let Kathy know, she'll get that to me. Or as I said, email me directly. Our emails at NC3T are pretty easy. They're our first name. So I'm Kathy, K-A-T-H-Y, at nc3t.com. Jane is Jane, and Hans is Hans. Any other questions? Thanks, Jackie, so much.
Kathy, just a comment. I wanted to welcome our distinguished leaders to the phone call today. I know how important they are at working in our CTCs, and I'm very pleased to see that they're listening in on this conversation, because they'll be instrumental in helping us move this project through.
Great, thank you. That's nice of you to see that.
And Kathy, I'll just conclude with just a thought that we didn't really address at the beginning, but it's really the opportunity for this project, because individual school districts and individual career technology centers are working very hard to try to engage students, improve student outcomes, and then ultimately launch students to successful careers and life and further education and training beyond high school. The opportunity for this project is to get greater impact, greater synergies by having school districts work more collaboratively and in partnership with their career technology centers. So rather than multiple districts in a region working kind of one by one on their own, to really bring them together and help them be more effective through creating these collaborative strategies. So I really am excited to think that we're going to be having a group of teams that are creating a new model of education for Pennsylvania and to really spearhead what that looks like.
All right, I don't see any other hands up. So I'm sorry, I do. Okay. Peggy, how are you?
Yes, this is Peggy Grimm from Dauphin County Tech. Hi.
Hi there.
Our question is, we just want to make sure that we're signed up. We did put it on our MOU, and I received, the reminder to attend this, so we're
You
good.
are signed up. You are signed up. Yes, you are on our sign-up list.
All right.
You're on it, Peggy, and you can't get out of it now.
That's right.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks for asking. And let me just see. I'm going between two monitors. I don't know if anyone can relate to that, but I lose my mouse all the time. Okay, I don't see any other hands up, so going once, going twice. I think we can wrap up, and as we said, to those of you who are on the call, we have your email address. I will directly send this link, this recording to you, we will ask Lee to send it out to everyone and Jackie to send it out to her distinguished leaders. So this information has been captured. We appreciate you being on the call with us today and taking time. And as I say that, a big trash truck is pulling up outside of my window. So I think we're going to wrap up. That's our cue. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on behalf of Hans and Jane. We look forward to talking to you more as the year moves on. Take care. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.